And we're back in the room here. 10 minutes. Let's finally get some information out of this guy. Oh, wait, no, he had all the cards the entire time. Well, now it's, well, I guess the Phantom Thieves once again have no control over their destiny.
Yeah, he did the most basic research. He just noticed, hey, you know, these guys are all in the same place at the same time, all the time. They're always hanging out. They're a big group of eccentric people, many of them with ties to the victims.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, would you really assume that a bunch of high school students were able to pull this sort of thing off? I keep thinking,
Yes.
I every single time I look at this, I keep thinking that it's like, I would think that main character has some sort of connection to the Phantom Thieves, but I wouldn't think that he was, because it's like, you don't even know what you're doing.
Pull off what? They have not done anything exceptional other than the fact they have the Phantom Thief power.
Yeah, I mean, that is their entire thing. They have Phantom Thief power.
They
I
don't-
mean, it's a very robust, amazing power, but it's like, and they still manage to wang it every single step of the way and get blackmailed yet again. I mean, we were talking a bit before the episode how it's just like, you know what, this actually makes sense as like a blackmail plot comparatively,
Yeah.
but at the same time, they also did wait an entire month when Goro knew about this the entire time.
Yeah.
And it's just another, well, I guess the Phantom Thieves are forced into yet another situation where they have to do this again.
Yep. It's not so much this is an interesting, relative to this game, this is a very interesting plot, I think, in terms of Goro. First of all, they set this event up, this assembly. They actually do something to control their own destiny, and
He just flips it on him right away.
They invite, yeah, and he's on it, and he's not only on it, but he's got a plan. He's got that whole, I'm going to announce who the Phantom Thieves are, and then get this dramatic call, and then have to go in the back room for 10 minutes in order to draw them in. He's playing them at their own game, such as it is, much better than they are. He's actually doing basic research. He's not just...
Yeah. He was able to, he took video and pictures and everything. It's like, no, this is actually, again, if every other plot wasn't like this,
Like
at least this is better than Makoto just walking up to Ryuichi as he's being like, hey guys, we're the Phantom Thieves.
yeah, which was essentially...
But it's also just like,
Yeah.
it's just the same damn plot over and over.
Which was
And yet
essentially-
again, the Phantom Thieves are being blackmailed into attacking a person. And
and
this is all a lie too, by the way. It's just like he has had a persona powers for much longer than this.
Actually,
so
I
that's
think,
interesting.
I think the way to critique how this game is doing a bad job is like not so much this plot. I think it's the fact that we took 20 days to get here. It took a month of just doing boring, ordinary stuff to get here. But then also, Makoto, who did the first quote-unquote plot, is now subsumed into the dumbass collective and doesn't have any presence of mind to see this stuff through, like to see it coming. Like she literally already did a blackmail plot, but now she's just getting passively blackmailed. Like joining the Phantom Thieves is an act of passivity, and I feel like that's a bad way to tell a story about heroes.
Yeah, joining the Thieves is just we just kind of like scoop up anybody that gets a persona basically. You know, it's weird. It's true actually. I was so down on this plot that it's just like this is actually the best plot that we've gotten so far.
Yes.
But like I don't know, it's just I just immediately went for the throats of the writers because I'm just like it's the same thing as the Makoto plot. It's the same thing as the Medjed plot. I guess like the last plot we did wasn't really coercing them, but it was more bullying them by the internet. It's just and of course the entire time 2/3 of those plots have been also orchestrated by the main villains.
Yeah.
These guys just don't do anything.
The Phantom Thieves have no
But
agency.
it's like this is actually good. It is good. This is good.
Yeah.
This makes sense. It's just it took too long to get here. That's the only. It took too long to get here, and it's just like Goro should be the one making the first move, really.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think it also makes sense. Like again, assuming that they hadn't botched every other plot before this, like the Phantom Thieves would be orchestrating all of their own destinies pretty frequently and only getting stymied when the villain overcomes that by being even craftier. Like, in this case, okay, they called an assembly to entrap Goro, maybe even to kill him, would be more interesting, but I know, they're going for kind of the...
That would maybe be a bit excessive.
But
even
going, maybe... entrapping him, maybe blackmailing him, and here's the turnabout. He's actually blackmailing them, and he's thought this through. He's come up with this delay. Like, we're gonna get him now. Like, they were gonna force him to confess something on camera, and then he just at the last moment says, "Ooh, I've got this call to take. I'm gonna go in the back."
They were trying to do this most bizarre public interrogation possible, which it's just like, I don't really know what they were planning in the first place, but I suppose it doesn't matter because Goro had a much better. This is why Goro is one of the best characters in the game. He had a much better idea of what he was doing the entire time.
Yeah, and really, there's nothing. This is a pretty decent plot, and it just underscores how bad the rest of the game is. Like, how many hours are we, in your... I don't know if
this is episode 88, and they're like, at least an average of 30 minutes per episode.
Yeah, so probably like a minimum, let's just say a minimum of 40 hours, probably going on 50 hours, and that's what you've been
also
showing.
We're like... One other thing is that we are like super good friends with Goro. It's just like, and then it's like he's doing this to us.
Well,
come on.
In fairness, like, that's the thing is he's a boy detective. He's a master manipulator. Of course he's gonna.
He's a. Fine, you turn me around on it. This is actually kind of a good plot, but I still hold to what I'm saying about like the rest of the game.
Well, it underscores the rest of the game. I mean, it violates your expectations in a way that makes you think, like, even when this game does things that are occasionally decent, it kind of just underscores, well, why don't they do it every time like that? Why don't they do it frequently like this so that there's a lot of machinations. Like, one of the things...
I think it's more of a question of a broken clock being right twice a day, where it's just like, hey, their dumb idea of having blackmail be the main driving force of each one of the plots actually kind of worked out this time.
Yeah, it did.
Because it made a lot more sense for this character. Once again, though, he is, in fact, lying to us. He has definitely had a persona for much longer than he said, which is... And also, the other thing is that we got the short response of how he got his persona, but that's, having that happen off screen, I feel like is kind of unusual for this game, because they'd usually want to pad that out as much as possible, and that's like the money shot sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They always give that the special cutscenes.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean,
that's right, Ryuji.
See, the thing is, like, he had complete control over us is a powerful thing if you're going about your day, orchestrating your destiny on a day-to-day basis. On every saga, you're the one making things happen. You know what I mean? Like,
speaking of that, though, it does seem like main character Morgana might have some plan there, because that was a different sort of thing that just happened. What does that mean? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. The rest of the, again, it's like, this is actually a good thing.
Yeah, and
so let's lay it on the table. It's a good plot, but in the context of the rest of the game, it's still dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there. If the main characters were like a lot more proactive and had control over their destinies, it's just like, this would be a very interesting turn.
Yeah,
but that's not. We've already had this plot with Makoto, with Matt Jed, with Okamura, with the entire plot. The entire plot.
Everything
they are just buffeted by the winds of fate.
Yeah. And something, a good example of this being done well is Danganronpa.
Yeah, throw it on the card.
But here's the thing. Here's what the Phoenix
you should have led with Phoenix Wright.
Okay, yes. Well, I mean, obviously the turnabout, and they have advocates on both sides trying to make the best possible case, and they're always coming up with these plots to entrap the other side. But then the other side says, "Oh, but even if that's true, look at this other piece of evidence, or read the autopsy again." But even with in Danganronpa,
update an autopsy report during the trial.
So one of the interesting parts about Danganronpa that they do just extraordinarily well is, when they find out about the murder game, what they do to deal with that is they try to control the situation. They literally have like, okay, everybody meet in the hall in morning and night, and we're gonna make sure that if anything happens, we're in control of it. Don't stray. You're never to be alone, in other words. And and the thing that makes that compelling is that sometimes that that organization,
they're working against the they're actually doing stuff to work against the system.
Yes, and sometimes
oh no, Sakura is about to be inducted into the cult. Oh no, say goodbye to his personality, everybody.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Even though, once again, I would like to say that it's just like, this is a very common thing that was being sold just a month ago.
Yeah.
to everybody. It's like, I'm sure there was probably like, in this universe, they would have like an Instagram sort of like fad of being like, hey, I wrote my own card.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thumbnail.
Yeah. So, does he...
And this is going to be like Persona, we actually kind of like this plot.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the thumbnail.
Now, I want to be clear. I think they did the bare minimum. They orchestrated, they had the characters actually compete with each other in a way that was interesting. The heroes and villains both exercise agency, and in this case, the villains won, but in a way that sort of is more of a synthesis than a pure...
It's also...
Yeah, contradiction.
We also got to look at it, though, like, what was their plan in the first place?
They didn't have much
that it's like
of a plan.
doing a big public interview was supposed to have him tell them something that he hasn't. He's been on television every day for the past 3 months.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just going to reveal the big secret now that he's in this school.
I guess he was.
I mean, he was.
But then again, it's like he knew what he was doing the entire time, so that's... It's not a bad plot, actually. Fuck it. You know what? I'll just lay it out on the table. Fine. You convinced me.
Okay. Nice. I accept your apology.
Fine. Take my apology. I hope you choke on it. Telling me Persona 5 is actually kind of a good game. Occasionally.
No, it's not. It's actually worse than... Because it really does underscore, okay, they had this one good plot, nestled into the 50-hour mark of our video series, not the game itself. That's probably more like 100 hours, right?
Oh, man. No, it's not. It's not that large, but certainly there is more stuff that goes on in the background. I mean, there's like a lot of... I've cut out a lot of stuff. But then again, I haven't really cut out that much stuff because there's...
Okay, but like, so...
It is like 99% dialogue.
60 to
and
80,
I'm trying to keep the dialogue.
Yeah. So we're 60 to 80 hours in, and we finally get a mediocre, average Phoenix Wright case.
I think the Kamoshida plot wasn't terrible, except for the part where they would not fucking stop trying to establish him as a villain, and Ryuji couldn't fucking understand anything. But it's like, aside from that, it's like, it was, their whole like reluctance to do anything made a lot more sense there comparatively. And we got to see like actual fallout from the villains and like the evil things that they were doing with Mishima and Shiho. And just in general, it's like, yeah, Kamoshida's a real fucking bastard. That's but then it's like, yeah, and then like the Madarame plot, we had to take four separate examples of people being like, yo, you should attack Madarame before they did it, and then blackmail.
And why do we care about Yoshizawa? Have they established
because she's the new character.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so it's not like they've fixed any of the fundamental problems of the game, but it's a nice, like...
The Royal is just a story of trying to, like, augment the plot by just adding more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep padding it out.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, well, we're not going to delete anything in the game. We're just going to add more to provide context to it, with Maruki especially.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, yeah. I mean, other than that, Yoshizawa is just kind of like a separate plot sort of deal.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, we also have the addition of, like, how many dozens of times have we seen that outside LeBlanc answering the phone scene? That should just be the thumbnail for every single episode, really. Because I swear to God, oh man, they really wanged that one. It does. I guess it does provide like a little bit more context, usually undercutting some of the shittier things that happen in some of the plot lines, but still. Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got a real jam going on. Welcome to the Space Jam cast. That's right, we're doing it.
Yeah, so we're doing that now.
So exhausting.
We're apparently doing that right now. I just did the song. Is that not enough?
I mean, okay, so I watched Space Jam 2. You did not, but you have thoughts about the original movie?
We wanted to start out the episode doing this, but then we actually kind of wanted to talk about the game.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, yo, there was like actual stuff to talk about here. Anyway, oh man, Space Jam 2. I've been seeing that on Twitter, especially with the supercut of some of the like. Ready Player One was the comparison most often for like the sheer amount of weird references to things that kids would definitely. I am still honestly shocked that Space Jam 2 came out, and you saw it.
It's not as bad as the scenes, the supercuts, or the scenes where they're gathering up the tunes in movie parodies. That's pretty minor. It's only like a 10-minute section, maybe, if not 5 minutes. It's actually pretty compact. The movie itself.
Yeah, but would you say that it's just like the fact that people immediately zeroed in on that kind of doesn't speak very well for the rest of the movie?
Well, it was cringe. There's no other way to put it. It was absolute cringe when they did that. The Austin Powers thing, the Casablanca, the Rick and Morty.
Oh boy.
I mean,
oh boy. You know what kids love? Casablanca.
Well, you have to have a pretty high IQ to appreciate Casablanca.
Oh, and Rick and Morty was just, again, like, I would not let a child watch that.
Yeah, how do you mess up a scene with Rick and Morty? Like, how do you not write that scene passably? Like, you've just got 30 seconds to fill. It's write a commercial with Rick and Morty, and then just paste it in to the Looney Tunes. Like, that's all you have to do. Don't do some. It's so easy to read a skip, but they couldn't even do that. It's like, it's not that they're referencing these things. I'm fine that they're referencing, God forbid, Casablanca or Rick and Morty or Austin Powers. Okay, fine. But like the way that they're doing it, they didn't even write jokes. It was just like, hey, you remember this movie? Well, what if Mini-Me was Elmer Fudd and or whatever? What if the cat from Dr. Evil's cat was Sylvester? Wouldn't that be interesting? It's like it's an assertion. There's nothing else to it. That was a really dumb scene. But the movie itself was fine. I thought it was very forgettable.
So
there's not much that actually happened. It's exactly what you expect.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with Space Jam especially. It's that Space Jam is basically just like a bunch of marketing executives that got together, vomited into a bucket, and then threw it up on screen. And then, like a very proud dog, they watch people lap it up.
Oh, 100%.
It's just a very generic sports movie, plus Looney Tunes, plus very marketable characters. Is that just what Space Jam 2 is?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's Looney Tunes, and it's LeBron James, and it's a family movie. I think they did a better job with the family dynamic. Like, they actually included
except for Casablanca references.
Like, well, no, I mean, I'm talking about the LeBron and his family arc, which was completely separate from that. I mean, they did a decent job.
I didn't even realize they put that in there.
No, they did a decent job, like, and actually the original didn't have that at all. Like, it was just purely Michael Jordan, which is totally fine. I mean, his family was part of it, but it wasn't like, oh, they need to learn. It was completely just like a comic relief. Like, oh yeah, Michael Jordan's family is better, like, his kids are better than him in baseball, which is a decent bit.
Which is a gag.
Yeah. Like, I remember one of my favorite parts about the original movie, which was not a good movie, just to be clear, is
I will say more about that later.
When his son is, like, getting all just sad because he hit he went 3 of 5 at, his Little League game, and it lowered his batting average, like, and Michael Jordan is, of course, in Double-A, and he's,
Yeah.
So, you know, so I thought they did a decent job with like the family dynamic. It was, you know, really well written and heartfelt. It was complete fiction, of course. It wasn't like this is how LeBron really
That
is.
would be weird if they tried to write
like an actual
LeBron James' real life into the movie, into Space Jam too.
Right, but it is
the sequel
also
to
weird
Space Jam.
that they came up with a parallel version of his family where he's, you know, a bad father and needs to learn how to deal with his kid. So that's the whole plot. So and the Looney Tunes,
it's passable.
it was it was very paint by numbers.
I don't know. The thing is, I haven't seen the original Space Jam for years. I probably watched it like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, maybe even back in like the late 2000s. And I don't actually remember too much, but it's like there are still things. It's funny because I do think that there are some clear comparisons to be made with the game we're playing right now, where it's just like there are some things I like about it. First off, Space Jam theme, amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like the Monstars are fun characters. I like them like conceptually and everything like that.
Yeah.
The Michael's secret stuff is a very memorable thing from that movie. It's like I still hold that it's just the most generic like sports thing, except hey, we got characters you recognize this time.
Well, in a certain way, it's
deal.
worse than generic because I mean, so also the Barkley scenes are awesome. Charles Barkley's legitimately talented as a comedian and or whatever, a comic talent. But whatever, you know, it's fine. But it's very. It's worse than generic in a certain way because it feels very cynical. It's like, okay.
Yes, cynical is the exact word I was going to say.
Yeah, and the whole thing...
Like, you idiots aren't going to watch a movie... You idiots will definitely watch any movie that has recognizable characters in it. And love it. And praise it for decades to come.
So I actually watched it with a mutual benefactor, Luke. I mean Luke. Yeah, we just kind of watched it in Discord, and... It was we actually ended up talking about Persona 2 or Persona 5 after that because we were thinking it kind of reminded us of it in the sense that it's like this cynical brand exercise. I mean, yes, it's not like it's not quite the same. It's not the same product. Like that's more of a WB, Looney Tunes, LeBron kind of axis. That's the brand axis that they're selling. But in Persona 5, it's actually a little bit more, I don't know, I mean, it's unseemly. We're selling these characters the idea of, you know, being in high school but having this fantastic thing where you have just all this merchandise, you know, all these different outfits. That
paid for by the Tokyo Tourism Board.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, that's one of the least cynical parts of it, and it still feels cynical. Like, oh yeah, why are we doing this, you know, photorealistic version of... Tokyo, there's probably somebody got paid. Somebody got paid.
I mean, they did a good job with it. I'll give them that.
I mean, they
did a good job with a lot of stuff in this game. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing where it's just like this. I don't know if I would say that this game feels like cynical in that way, but it definitely feels similar in the way that it's like a product.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like there's...
It just feels like it was produced as a product rather than like a work of art.
Yeah. And I mean, we can get into like all the, you know, the relatively unseemly parts of like the social links. I mean, we don't talk a lot about the social links being unseemly, but they're kind of unseemly. Let's be honest. You're like, what is...
I mean...
You're giving presents.
In what ways? I mean, are you talking specifically?
Well,
we talked about that like last time, or at least a couple episodes ago, about like, you know, it's one good people are good, bad people are bad, and the only plot is to figure out who the bad person is in your life and how to get rid of them.
Well, it's offering these kind of romantic fantasies. That's really...
Oh, that one. Oh, okay,
yes,
that
yes.
part. You're talking about the Ishiko and Kawakami storylines.
Well, yeah, but even the other ones aren't like a lot better. They're just not like literally illegal. It's not...
Boy, those... Oh man, it's just there's a lot of there's a lot of the social links that I feel like I've just kind of dropped over time because I'm just like I don't like these. I don't like these characters that much.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. Maybe there was like some sort of promise at the beginning, but it was like, yeah. The characters just want you to whatever. Anyway, once again, Sakura, it's like it's funny that it's just like, main character, you are not exempt from this conversation. Stay here and listen to it. I know that this seems like the sort of thing I should be talking in private with my daughter about, but main character is going to be sitting next to you the entire time.
And just a lot of the main character is involved in a lot of private conversations for no other reason than they want to show the private conversation from the main character's perspective.
But they have no reason. We just saw with like the police director guy that it's like they can do conversations that don't happen with the main character there. Main character, why the fuck are you still here?
Yeah.
Go upstairs or something.
Just please go upstairs.
It's like this is a private conversation I'm having with my daughter. It's like, nope. I'm like her stand or something. That's a JoJo reference. JoJo Leon is finishing up. Don't know if there's going to be a part 9 just yet, but I would probably think so.
I need to.
Part 8 happened basically immediately after 7 ended, so.
I need to watch that because I've heard only good things about it for the most part.
It's pretty. It's so JoJo. I mean, first off, this game takes a lot of cues from that, but it's like JoJo is a very weird series because it's been around for literally decades at this point, and it gets different in like each part, and they're all pretty entertaining. But it's like I would say it's pretty like light entertainment. Don't expect a very deep plot line or anything. Just expect like. Shonen stuff, except I think they just do a pretty good job overall on the big stupid fights between large linebacker beefy men who are dressed up in the most elaborate costumes that you could possibly imagine. Well, although it doesn't start like that. It actually starts as just like a very standard vampire story and then goes places. They get the superpowers. It's entertaining though. Yeah, I think it's a very fun watch.
Yeah, and by the way,
or read.
This is not a bad. Again, like a lot of this is like it underscores how the rest of the game has been so contrived and stupid up to this point.
This is such a weird place to put this though, because we did just execute Ray Kroc live on television.
Well, yeah. I mean, McDonald's CEO Ray Kroc was killed on live television by the Phantom Thieves recently.
Yes, and it's like this is the sort of thing that would happen after we beat Okamura, but before he's executed live on television.
Also, why is the main character?
Yeah, why is the main character? It's like, okay, I'm gonna hear you out. Main character, you sit next to Futaba.
Yeah, and also he's facing the main character. Just look at that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that I was talking about, where it's just like this wouldn't be a bad plot line, except we have to have main character here, and now he has to be welcomed into the fold of main character's cult of personality. Yeah,
and after this is he going to be part of the like he's going to be aware of it, or is he going to be kind of a
I don't want to spoil it, but it's just like, imagine like a slide whistle sound effect right here.
He's going to be a party member, of course.
Oh, if he was actually a party member, that would turn it around a lot.
That'd be really cool, actually. Just give like the old guy his due.
Yeah, I don't know. Give him like the giant cup of coffee with the smiley face on it as a persona, and let me use him.
Honestly, that could be really cute. Like I hate that this game is built around exclusively teenagers for a lot of reasons, but it's just. That's kind of one of those where it's like the personas are always like very generic feeling because of that. Not like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, they've got to be dressed up, or they've got to be like, I'm a super gardener or whatever.
I talked about that before, where it's just like I do really like the old Kaneko designs for the demons, because the new ones they got some good stuff certainly, but I do feel like they don't quite reach the level of the gigantic foot with a face on it that is the god of toilets. It's like there's There's a very specific design to that. Pretty much the only one I feel like really got close to that was Ryuji's original one, Captain Kid.
Mm-hmm.
No, a game would be better written than this. What count on that? I don't even know. But 3, 4 times. How many times have they said? Do people think this is a game?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's just a translation of Fuzakanai, but still.
Also, just this whole thing where the main character is just like, like this whole thing where it's like he's a phantom thief and stuff, and it's like, okay, could be.
One thing I do really like about this is that Sakura is the first person to actually assume that it's not the main character who is the Phantom Thief to start with.
Yeah.
He thought it's like, oh, he must have some sort of connections, which is the reasonable way that people would think about this.
Yeah, that's totally reasonable.
Why would you assume that this jabroni would be the mastermind behind the entire thing? It's like, no, it's like, what's Superman's friend's name? Jimmy Page?
I have no idea.
Yes?
Lois Lane?
It would be like assuming that Lois Lane is Superman because she always hangs around. Because, she hangs around with him. No, it's a different character I'm trying to think of that I can't remember.
What is that? Is that like a...
She says Sojiro ellipses 4 times in this conversation. I was just counting. I guess I forgot to take that out.
What does Sojiro mean?
No, she just says Sojiro ellipses 4 times in this conversation.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
That's it.
Okay.
Whoops, should have taken that one out. Whatever.
It's a nice flavor.
It's just that's one of those, like, I don't know. I just thought it was awkward. Just the amount of times we saw that in this conversation alone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, the other thing is that it's just like there's no real stakes to this because we know Sakura. I saved your daughter.
Yeah, and also I mean, like, this is the kind of thing where this conversation you should have earlier, just after.
Again, not after they just executed Ray Kroc live on television.
Well, I can kind of.
He should have a lot more questions right now for them.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like it would be, you'd have less questions if it had started earlier. If they just done this when, Futaba suddenly wanted to go to the beach and was suddenly much more social, like. I think that would have made more sense. It would have been more narratively satisfying. Having it here feels like, well, we gotta address
this. Especially after the whole Goro thing. It's like, this is a weird time to bring up this subplot.
Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, again, like, you do 80 hours of filler, and then you do these...
And then you start to get to the good stuff,
and then, well, not even good stuff, just decent character moments. Like, the inevitable character conflicts that you should deal with, like that a real story, a real game that isn't bullshit deals with as soon as it can, because it's the interesting stuff.
That isn't the Medjed saga.
Yeah, like, why did we have the Medjed saga, the entire Medjed saga before this? Why did we have the entire Okamura saga with Haru, a completely forgettable and useless character who doesn't need to exist? Like, there's no reason Haru needs to exist. It solely is like an archetype. Who cares? Who cares about Haru?
Yeah,
nobody
it
even
sucks
because
it's like she was introduced in a way that seemed like it might have been interesting, but then there were no stakes to it.
Yes, and it's like, so Haru's entire character is less interesting than this conversation, and the fact that the writers consistently prioritize including as many archetypes as possible over having actual human character moments is why this game is bad. It's the foremost reason. It's the single foremost reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we talked before about, like, the sheer insistence on trying to, like, make some sort of statement about, like, justice or whatever, and it's like, nah, just focus on the characters, dude.
Well, even the thing with the justice,
and make it so the characters do stuff.
You can have a focus on justice, but god damn,
you gotta do way better than they did.
Have real people with real stakes. That's how you write. It's not hard. Like, it's hard to write well. It's not hard to think about what would be interesting for people.
Well, anyway, so after 4 palaces of filler, we're finally getting into something approaching an actual video game.
Yeah, exactly. An actual story with an actual plot and actual characters. What a concept.
What a concept.
How is there time left on this?
Yo, how could I split up that entire plot line? It's like it's started and resolved in this episode. I couldn't take that one out.
Okay. I was like, okay, that's fine.
And look, this is we gotta get the IM conversation where we just fucking talk about exactly what happened. Christ. Oh boy!
We've got to get Haru's opinion. We've got to get Yusuke's opinion. They're valuable characters with a lot to say and interesting backstories. And
Haru's opinion, Yusuke's opinion, Anne's opinion.
We need to get Haru to apologize for her dad dying. And well, if my dad were alive, maybe we'd be able to do better.
Hey! You're gonna love the next episode.
I plan on loving it. I plan on loving all these episodes.
And I plan on just going and pissing so hard the second that this ends. Holy Christ.
Okay, so this is the piss cast, I guess.
We're gonna win.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, 20 seconds.
Sorry.
All this happened because I kept the calling card. Yeah. It's terrible that we got an actual character moment. I totally shouldn't have done that. I really regret this.